All right, so this is exactly why I moved into a $4,500 a month apartment when I could have gotten a really nice place for cheaper, probably could have gotten a lot more space for cheaper, and why I've picked Tampa of all places to do that. So I've had some friends visit me. One of my friends just came from California. He's like, "Oh, love your place. It's sick. But $4,500 a month is, like that's more than he makes in a month." He's like, "Why would you pay that?" And the truth is, when I first moved to this building, I was paying about $2,750 plus all the expenses. I was basically paying $3K a month. And at the time, I was like, "This is dumb. This is super expensive. I don't think I can do it. I don't think maybe I should do it." But what ended up happening was your brain almost kicks into overdrive, where it's like, if what we're currently doing is doing like 8 to 10K a month or 10 to 15K a month, then like that's still not really enough to feel comfortable paying that much in rent, paying for a nice car, paying to go out and have a good life, right? So you are almost forced to figure out a new way to have the life that you want, because I want to live here and I'm not going to put that on the back burner for 2 years or 3 years till I get a promotion, right? So what I ended up doing was figuring out how I can actually make more money, and I'll talk about that. But there's this thing called Parkinson's law, and it's this idea that when you give yourself, let's say I have a task to do, let's say it's to record this YouTube video, and let's say I put like like on Monday I'm going to film a YouTube video. That means it's going to take me all of Monday most likely to film that YouTube video. Whatever the time I give myself for that task, I'm going to fill it up as much as I can instead of just getting it done in a shorter time period. So making money is pretty much the same thing. If you are like, well, I need to make, this much money for my parents, I need to make this much for rent, this much for expenses, I need to be able to donate 2K a month to charity, I need to be able to go out and get food, to upgrade my wardrobe, go on trips, go on like all these things that pretty much everyone wants to do, then you're going to have to like actually make that a reality in order for your brain to kick in overdrive, right? So the best example of this, again, by kind of going back to Parkinson's law, is remember studying for a test and being like, shit, I have a test. It's at the end of this week, so like I don't really have to study right now, but I will. But what happens when you actually, that due date gets closer, or that test date gets closer? Your brain goes into overdrive in order to make that happen. So it's basically the same thing with making money. I do believe that humans are extremely malleable, and who you're around matters more than anything. One of the best advantages I've had of moving into this building is the people I've met. 100% hands down. I picked the best building in Tampa to move into because I really like Tampa, and then I just looked for the best building in the city that I love. So what that did was basically align me with everyone else who had the same thought process as me, like people that are successful, that love Tampa, that just want to live in the best building, the best part of Tampa, right? So one of the people I met, this guy named Anthony Marsilio. Anthony was one of the first people I met. He was out on a pool deck. There's 2 buildings in this building, and we were on the pool deck in the, let me darken this a little bit. All right. We were in the pool deck, and, this guy, I was talking to some other kid named Gus, and Gus is really successful, young kid too. He was actually 19, which is crazy. He's living here. But I was talking to Anthony, and Anthony's like, he's an Amazon agency owner. He's like 6'4", 6'5", like 220, lean, strong. Like this guy's got like crazy, a lot going on for him. Let's say that. So Anthony, he knew that I was a creator, and he knew that like, basically that I work with brands, like I'm a TikToker, like all these things, right? And so one day on Twitter, he tags me in a tweet saying that, a guy is looking for a full-time UGC creator. That was the tweet. And so I just was like, oh, cool, thanks for the tag. I DM'd that guy. I was like, yo, like I do UGC. I'd be looking for a full-time gig. And I'm like, Anthony Marsilio referred me. And the guy's like, okay, cool. Like send me your portfolio, whatever. I'd send it. But we talked about like, how much it would make. And basically the contract was like 5-6K a month for a year. Like that was like the contract. So basically that's, let's say 5 times 12, that's 60K that I made from knowing a guy in this building. And for not that much work. Like that's the other thing, is you have to do things that are very high leverage. Making videos, making content, it's a little bit of work, yeah, but it's extremely high leverage. And so that's one of the main things that I also try to tell people. It's like, yo, if you're going to spend a lot of your time doing something or dedicating your time to something, make sure you're doing something that um, could pay you or give you like outsized returns for your effort. If I'm going and I'm working at like, a waiter or something downstairs at the building, then I can only get paid hourly. Maybe I get a tip. Maybe I have a little bit of serendipity with who I meet down there. Maybe. You're at least still in a good location and you're still meeting people that, do things that are extremely high leverage, but the job itself is not high leverage. But me posting a YouTube video means that this can go out to someone that's exactly interested in the things that I do and like, how I connect people with brands or how I work with brands so they get good creators and affiliates, whatever. And you don't get that if you're just working a normal job. And so that's like the most important thing with content. It's extremely high leverage. If you have a lot of money, you can do a lot of high leverage things, etc. But the other good part about living in this building is now I've upgraded to a $4,500 a month apartment. I live by myself. It's 2-bed, 2-bath. And a lot of people are like, why though? Like, because you're in Tampa, it doesn't make sense for you to do that really. Like, you're paying $4,500 a month in Tampa, like not even Miami. And the reason why I do it is not because of what anyone else says, what anyone else thinks, but because I actually love Tampa more than I love any other city that I've been to, which means for my dream life, this is what I'll pay. And I'll pay much more than this. And, like I'm adjusting past this level and then I'll be at another level. I could put even more in, or I could get another place to stay at, whatever it may be. So something I knew about myself at an early age is that I'm a very privileged kid from Southern California. I didn't have that many stresses and struggles. Like, my brother is disabled, my mom's a single mom, my family like wasn't perfect growing up. I had a little bit of pain and uncomfortableness there. We didn't have money, sure, but it wasn't like I was like poor on the streets. Like, I had clothes on my back. I went to good schools. Like, things were fine. For most people, like most people in my situation, they'd be fine and happy. But the thing is, I knew because I was comfortable and came from that environment and background, I would have to literally add stress to my life in order for me to get better. A lot of people that become successful, they have so much stress at the start of their lives that they know pain, they know stress, or they know loss, or whatever it may be, that it pushes them to do more. And so me coming from a good area, I was like, man, I need to figure out a way to like just add stress to my life, or otherwise I'm just never gonna make it, because I feel fine. Even today, money is not what I'm motivated by. It's simply not. I really don't care about money. I care much more about like the impact that I can have on the world. That's always been my goal. That always will be my goal. But if you want to have a big impact on the world, then you need to make money. There's no way around it, especially in this day and age. I mean, you can do social media, you can have a little bit of an influence, but at the end of the day, if you really want to make change, it starts with money. That's number one. And so everything else is pretty much cope, which is what I've realized. Like, I'm watching people tweet all day, argue all day, this, that, and the third. It's pretty much just for fun. Like, you're honestly engaging in that stuff for fun. If you were serious about changing the world, you would get more money in your account. That's number one. And then number two is, if you are serious about changing the world, like, what makes you think that you even know what's best for the world? Like, second order effects or third order effects are so great that usually most people don't understand what they're even advocating for, because they don't have that depth of knowledge or experience or history. They're really acting off of emotion. And so every time I see someone who's like, oh, well, it should be this way, or the world should be this way, or this is really unfair, or human nature is this, it's like, things are how they are because that's like as good as we figured out how to make them. In the US, like, we're one of the newer countries in the world. There's a lot of opportunity here. There still is, or probably will be for a little while. But in terms of making really good money at being successful, the best way to do that is probably through online business. Now, I started with content because I had zero skill set whatsoever. I didn't have money to invest in myself. And so the only thing I could really do was pick up a phone and record. That was it. And I did that for a year with almost no returns. I got like 10K followers, posting a few times a day on TikTok, which during that time was not great because TikTok was not like a really hard platform to grow on, which basically told me like, oh shoot, like what I'm doing is not good enough. So I started talking about more trending stuff like dating, relationships, just trends on TikTok in general, talking about them and engaging in that stuff. And that alone is what helped me to grow a real big follower. I mean, over 100K I consider like good, not like big. Big's like probably 500K plus. But you have to do things like that. Like, if you want to have a great life, it's just not going to come from you working a normal job, you know? And realistically, the only thing you need to do more is honestly have courage. The people that do more are the ones that are willing to look like an idiot. And so many of you have such an ego that you won't put yourselves out there, and because you're too afraid of looking like an idiot, which is a shame because ultimately no one cares about you anyways. Like literally no one cares about you. So the quicker you can put yourself out there, the better it'll be for yourself. That's just reality. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is why I moved into this apartment, because it's my dream life. I don't really give a shit what anyone else thinks. I really like living here. Like, I enjoy my life. You know what I mean? I've lived in places before where I haven't enjoyed my life. But now I'm meeting people that are like-minded, finding community, enjoying what I do for business, growing, and honestly, yeah, just enjoying my life how I want it to be. Thank you guys for watching. I'll talk to y'all later.